Episode 4, Cassie Spurling.
There we go.
Getting a little windy today.
No, it needs to go away.
So like what got you into like fishing, fly fishing in general? Like how long you been doing it?
My dad got me into fly fishing. He started me out when I was probably like 4 or 5. And, over the years, it was something we always did together. And something that I kind of just really latched onto. I have a lot of siblings, and we all love to be outdoors and fly fish and hunt and all of that. But that was just kind of my thing. And when I was like 10 or 11, I became really, really obsessed with it. And I was very fortunate to have parents who fostered that and took me to a lot of wild places. And my dad, I owe so much to him because I would definitely wouldn't have had half the awesome experiences I have in my life if it hadn't have been for him, and also for him just instilling a sense of adventure and passion about the outdoors. Fly fishing is like a great foundation to experience all of that.
That's awesome.
And it's been an avenue for me to connect with other people and with myself, honestly, more than I have in anything else in my life. So I'm really thankful for awesome parents. And
did your dad grow up fly fishing?
He grew up fishing and hunting. His dad was a really big outdoorsman, especially deer hunting. But he got into fly fishing when he was like 12 or 13. They had moved back up here, and there was a really cool wild trout stream. I won't name, but it was around here. And he grew up fishing that with like crickets, whatever. And he read an article, I think it was Field and Stream, or maybe it was like an old Lefty Kreh book or something. And he really wanted to get into fly fishing. And he had went and visited his cousin in South Georgia, and they were fishing like a farm pond. And I think his cousin had like some popping bugs and a fly rod. And he was like, this is awesome. Like, I want to try this for trout. And he called his dad. This was like in the summer. And it was like a big deal. Like he said he wasn't the kind of kid that would like ask for anything. And he was like, hey, we're going to Walmart. Like, can I buy a fly rod? And it'll be my Christmas present. Like, I really want one of these. And so he got one and just started reading books. And he got in a box of flies, I think at like an estate sale or something. And started fishing woolly boogers and was catching, really technical fish, but big wild browns, like over 20.
That's awesome.
On a tiny little trout stream, at 12 years old. And I don't know, it just kind of took off for him after that. And he started saving like magazine articles and stuff about out west, and started saving up at that age to go on like a big trip out west. And I think when he turned 20, he bought a Toyota pickup that he still drives to work.
Oh, and that's awesome.
Took it out west for like a month and fished all over, all these places that are super famous now, like the Yellowstone and the Green, and they just, go out there and didn't see anybody. And
bet fishing was good back then.
Yeah, I know. Back when it was good and wild, and they would just hike in like 5 or 6 miles in the morning and take their float tubes and float down like Yellowstone River and like all these crazy places. And then not too long after him, my mom got married, and they started having kids right away. And as soon as we were old enough to walk, we were going out west and fishing and to some of these wild places.
That's
and
amazing.
It's just kind of in my blood, I guess, but all thanks to him. Just like, seriously.
Like such a probably super special experience for them too, to have like with kids and
I
going
can
on
imagine
all those adventures. That's amazing.
I've always heard that having kids is like you get to experience things again for the first time in a different way.
Yeah, like through their eyes.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll slide us down here just a hair. Sounds like your dad should probably write a book.
He should. He's a really interesting guy.
It's like a guy you'd want to sit down at a bar with and
he has so many stories.
Tell me how to live life.
Yeah, seriously. He's one of those people
it's so funny from right here. It looks like a deer.
I thought that too. Hopefully it's not.
Does your mom, she fly fish at all?
She does. He got her into it. That's a cool thing, really. Is like she had a different childhood than him as far as like growing up in the outdoors and stuff, but everything that he wanted to do, she was all for it. And so she came to love all of that stuff too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're any of your siblings fly fish?
Yeah, they do. Actually, they all know how. My brothers were super into it for a while, and then they got really into archery and hunting and everything. And then my older sister, she fly fishes some. But I don't know, I just really, really latched on to it. So, but everyone in the family is pretty outdoorsy, one way or the other.
So you got into fly fishing when you were like 10, 11, and then when did you, or what got you interested in guiding? And
yeah, that's like an interesting.
Let's try this like inside over here on the
looks
left,
good.
back up there.
So yeah, I started off super little, and then when I was like 10 or 11, it was all I wanted to do. And when I was 16, I started hanging out at the fly shop in town, actually. And at that point, like up until a couple years before that, I didn't even know guided fly fishing was a thing. Like we had never been on a guide trip or anything. We always just kind of DIY'd everything. And when I found out that it was a career option, I was stoked because I was like, this would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So I started hanging out at the shop, working in the shop, and probably a year or so later, started tagging along on guide trips. And a lot of the people that are still around here today, like, helped me out so much, and they were really encouraging. And so I just kind of stuck with it.
Oh,
it's not a horny head, yes. But yeah, that's how I got into guiding, and then kind of took off from there.
And you said how old were you then?
16.
Nice.
I think I was 16 going on, and probably 17 when I really started running trips all the time. Mostly wade trips on the Toccoa.
Yeah.
And do some stuff at NCF every now and then went to college in Tennessee, and I was still guiding on the weekends. And so one way or the other, I've stuck with it. Not that I haven't had to have part-time gigs to make it work in between, but
kind of have to, right?
kind of have to.
You have any good, like, funny guide stories, interesting guide stories?
So many.
Whoa.
Oh, was that a horn?
That was definitely horny head. It came on.
Oh man, yeah, I have to think on that one. Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting. For the most part, like, you meet so many cool people out here, but every now and then there's like been some weird stuff, and like, I don't know. I remember it being really, really. I think it was like super green to guiding. It was a weird deal. So it was like a couple that walked in, and it was like they booked the trip as they were there, like they wanted to do it that day.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would get like the bottom of the barrel, as you should when you're first starting out.
Of course, you gotta pay your dues.
You gotta pay your dues. But it was really strange because the wife didn't want to go, but she didn't want the husband to go. It was a weird deal. And so like we're at Horseshoe Bend, and this car shows up, and there's like this lady like driving along, like following us the whole way.
What is going on?
Yeah, I was like thought we were getting spied on or something, but that was a weird deal because like she didn't want to go on the guide trip, but she just kept following us, but she was like hiding behind the trees and stuff.
She wanted to stalk the guide trip.
So I think they had some problems going on there.
Oh,
but
yes, sounds like it. I had a somewhat similar experience, but
Really?
the lady like actually came on the trip. But you know, you like meet the clients in the morning. It's like, how's it going? Everybody gets out of the car, and you could tell she was not very excited to be there.
She didn't want to be there, yeah.
But we'll kind of keep running this like inside on that left there. But she like get in the boat, and the guy, it was like one of the guys that's like, I really want her to catch a fish, I really want to catch her fish, but like
She's like, I don't care.
she's not interested.
Yeah,
She's never fly fished before. She's not interested in learning. I'm trying to help her, and you can tell she's like, I could care less what you're saying. But literally like hour and a half into the trip, they kind of start going back and forth, and obviously
You're in the middle.
Physically in the middle of them.
That's one of the most uncomfortable experiences.
He's in the front of the boat, she's in the back, and she basically, I guess, wanted to go look at like real estate properties, whatever it was, and he kind of drug her out there. But we're literally like hour and a half into the trip. They're getting into like full blown argument, and he's like, "You can just take us to the car," and I'm like,
"It doesn't work that way."
I'll take you to the car, but it's gonna be about. We did the mile.
Oh,
so
man.
Thankfully it wasn't a long push out.
Yeah, thankfully you weren't like halfway between Tamman and Curtis.
I was like, I will gladly take you guys to the car.
You know, I have been in very similar situations. You almost feel like you're counseling, like at that point, or the most uncomfortable is like they're going back and forth. I'm just staying quiet, and then they ask you to weigh in, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say. I don't want to leave one,
that is not
way.
not my place.
No. Also,
but like you said, like 99.9% of the people that are out on the boat are people that I would spend time with. For
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And
like,
I love that feeling when you meet somebody for the first time and then they become a return client, and then it's like a friend, you know?
Yeah,
It's like,
and that's really what it is for me at this point. I mean, there's some people that still fish with me that's been, it's been over 10 years. And so it's like so many things have changed in my life since I first started fishing with those people, and they've given me so much good advice. They've been there for me in so many ways, and it's kind of like you have a bunch of extra sets of parents and grandparents and everything, because it's
That's
these
cool.
people that care about you beyond what you originally connect over, which is the outdoors and fly fishing. And there's, you can have so little in common with someone and feel like you have everything in common with them once you get on the boat, which is one of the
So
coolest
true.
things about it. And I've met so many of those people I wouldn't have met any other way. Just
and
totally
you end up like
circles.
talking so much more outside of just like booking
Yeah.
a trip. It's like, again, it's like literally becomes like a friend. Like,
It does, yeah. And that's the cool thing about it. And I think there's something about being outside and in this environment that is so, especially in this day and age, we're so disconnected from the outdoors, because we have to be in a lot of ways, but it's just our environment. And so when people get out in a situation like this, you'll open up about things you normally wouldn't, and
For
it's like a
sure.
safer space for a lot of people. And
it's honestly, if you think back on it, it's kind of like where we all started,
Exactly. That's
before
why
everything got crazy and busy.
Yeah. And that's why it feels so familiar.
You kind of
I
like
think.
reconnect on a kind of foundation that
Yeah,
it's kind of
exactly.
lost. The closer we get to this thing, and more it looks like a deer, but I don't think it is.
Dude, I think it is.
It is?
I think it is.
It's
Well,
gotta
maybe
be.
not. I'm kind of blind. I think it's just a perfect rock with. Wait,
If this isn't, that has to be a deer.
I feel super blind right now because I can't tell. But
That
that's a big deer. If that's a
It
deer,
has to be a deer, right?
it is, right? Just been there for a while.
That's
a
deer.
huge
It's a deer. That's a deer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
How do you end up here, buddy?
Somebody's definitely looking for that one.
Uh-huh.
Dang. That is a huge deer.
Well, because that rock's always there, so it's like
Yeah.
confusing.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, somebody's definitely looking
That
for
is
that
crazy.
guy. It's so funny back and forth. I was
We were
like,
both like,
that's a
there's
rock
no-
with a stick on it. Oh, no, that's definitely a deer.
Especially in the beginning, we're like, it's so funny. That looks
it's a
just like
rock.
a deer.
What would you say has impacted you the most, being outdoors, fly fishing, guiding, all that stuff? What would you say is like something that's taught you, or kind of a big takeaway for you?
Man, that's a good question. I feel like there's so many. The biggest thing for me, I think, is, for one, it's familiar. You can float down a stretch of river or walk the same trail or whatever, and there's always something new to be seen if you have eyes for it. And learning to kind of keep your eyes open and realize that I don't really know very much about some place, even if I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah.
And I think that translates to a lot of different things in life, is that you might think you know a situation or how a person's going to act or whatever, and you don't, because it's different every day. But as
It's
far
like
as
a little bucket right over here on your
there.
left.
that looks good.
That's so true. For me, it was like, I think, anywhere you go to fish for trout specifically, it's usually a very beautiful place. And
exactly.
for me, it honestly became like almost like therapy.
Yeah.
It's like, and I still do it today. It's like, catch fish, great. Don't catch fish, great. Like,
Absolutely.
There's something about being on moving water or going out hiking up into a creek that's just like a reset,
Absolutely. And like we were saying earlier, you return to something that's very familiar, even if you don't know what it is. Your body does, like your genetics, your ancestry, and everything. Like, it knows that that's home, and that's what
1,000%.
is your nervous system reset and whatever it may be. And
I'll kind of push us through this. It's usually like snaggy.
I think for me too, like, I've always had a hard time for no reason in particular. Like, I had a great home life growing up, awesome parents, like communication, like everything was great, but I've always had a hard time sharing things that are personal and talking about things. And I think in nature, I feel understood. And that's a big thing for me too, because I feel like there's a lot of times where I may feel like I have a hard time connecting or being vulnerable, but in nature you don't really have to, but it just kind of feels like you already are.
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing for me too, because and maybe you can relate to this, but I think as as an angler, you go through stages where it's like when you first start fly fishing, you're like, man, I just want to catch fish. And then you're like, oh, I want to catch a really big fish.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, I don't care if I catch anything at all.
Yeah.
And like, that's all a process too of like learning what it's really about. And for me, like, trout fishing is awesome. I love it. But if you take 10 seconds and look underneath a rock or learn about water temperature and what it means, what those fish are eating, and how it affects every single thing downstream, that's so much more beautiful to me than just catching a trout, because you really learn that there's so much to their little world.
So complex.
Yeah, and it's exciting, and it keeps you interested because you seriously can learn something new every day. It sounds redundant, but it's the truth.
It's so true, though.
The beautiful reality of it.
I think too, and like, you know, with the chaos of the world, and like we're always getting stuff thrown at us, like phone, TV, phone call, email. Like, it's, you know, in a way, I feel like instinctually our body's getting to reset and be outside and go back to like kind of where it all started, is like kind of need that, you know?
Do. Yeah, there's this, there's a friend of mine, and like he's all for like stuff like that, of like reconnecting to nature and what that actually means.
Yeah.
And there's something that he says, and like it sticks with me, like what's your aliveness? Like if someone asks you that question, what makes you feel alive?
Yeah.
And the second question is, are you chasing it? And that is honestly a bigger question than it sounds like, because there's so many times where I feel like you just go through every single day and you don't do one thing that makes you feel alive. It's really easy to just get hung up in the mundane and feel like that's life, and that's just how it is sometimes. But I think you have to make a conscious effort to chase aliveness, whatever that means to you.
I remember I was at like this camp thing, and I overheard this lady in the sky talking, and she was saying basically like, you know, find what truly brings you alive in life, what makes you happy, and then the amount of money that it takes to do whatever that is. And she's like, normally you're going to realize it's not as much as you would think.
Exactly.
And you can, you know, that just always stuck with me. And it was literally, I wasn't even talking to her. I just overheard her say it to another guy. And I was like, that just stuck with me. And it's like, you can kind of create, you can kind of create you know, your own dream in a way that's doesn't have to be some crazy, you know what I mean?
It doesn't have to be anything wild. You don't have to make a ton of money. Like, you can find that in so many different ways.
And to, like, you know, it's like, obviously when you take people fishing, they're wanting to go catch fish, but again, that being able to have those conversations where you can almost like, not educate, but just when you have that conversation about, you know, the bigger picture of why this is so special.
Exactly.
Compared to just catching fish, you know.
And I think that's a big thing too, is like a lot of times you're with people who don't normally go outside.
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity
to
educate about conservation and everything that goes into it. And a lot of times, like, I get discouraged because, especially with conservation, it feels like no one cares. But a lot of times people just don't know. Exactly. And like at least we have a really cool, I mean, you have 2 people held hostage in your boat for like 2 or 3
You're not
hours.
going anywhere.
Yeah, I can nerd out and bore them to death.
You have to listen.
Exactly.
And honestly, most people, like you said, I feel like they don't know, and then they almost seem surprised. You know, they're like, really? Like, I
think so.
I know you traveled a good bit, like fishing, like out west, and you're down in, was it Chile?
Yeah, I was in Patagonia last winter, I think.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was so cool. It was like going into it totally blind, just like didn't know a whole lot about the place I was going to, which I think was good. Like, it was a really remote area, and I really need to work on my Spanish. That was something I learned. But other than that, it was awesome. You know, it's just like such a different world. And one of the biggest takeaways for me there was just, at least the area I was in, life was a lot slower, and no one was like in a hurry. Like, even on a guide trip, it's like, nice. We'll go whenever you guys are ready, like whatever. Yeah. Like, you'll stop for an hour or 2 hours, have lunch, drink wine, tell stories. Like, they're all just about
the full experience.
Yeah, and like intentionality seemed like such a big theme for me there, and it's one that I really need to work on because it's hard for me to be still, and it's hard for me not to rush through things.
Yeah.
But out there, it's like, even cutting grass, people are out there, you know, using a scythe to cut their grass. No one has a lawnmower. Like, everything takes longer, but they don't care. It's just like, that's how you live life. You enjoy it. You eat good food. You hang out. Like, it's just, that was really good for me. And the fishing was awesome.
Yeah. I think that's like another really good point just about being outside of fly fishing, all that in general, is like, it just gives you that opportunity to like take a breath and actually slow down, you know?
Absolutely.
I remember like traveling like over to Europe and stuff, and it's like kind of like you were saying with dinners and stuff.
Is it like that?
It's like 3 or 4 hour dinner. It's like you're not here to just eat and rush out. It's like it's you sit there and you enjoy it, take a breath, enjoy your meal, and like, you know, same thing. The server's like telling you a story, or like, you know, that was just one thing that stuck out to me over there, is like, man, these people like aren't sitting around the table just staring at their phones. Everyone's having a conversation, and it's not rush in, rush out.
Exactly. That was another big thing there too. Like, even in like at the lodge or like all the living rooms and everything, no TVs. Like nothing. You know, they would play music or like have music and stuff, but like you didn't need it. And then after like, you know, the first couple of weeks there, it's kind of a weird adjustment. And like, I didn't have service, Wi-Fi, or like a TV where I was living. And so I brought some books with me, and that's the most I've read. Oh, my bad. Okay, I think we can salvage it.
It had to happen at least once.
That's why I can't fish and talk at the same time. But it was cool because like I don't read at home, and I don't really write anything. Like, I love doing that stuff, but like I'll watch TV or let's do a podcast or something instead. Can we get it?
I go through like victory.
Woo!
I go through like phases of reading. I like love it, but it has to be something like I love books that like grab your attention, where you finish a chapter and you're like, I gotta read the next chapter. I can't. And I also have trouble reading books that have long chapters.
Oh, me too.
I like the like little like 7-8 pages as a chapter.
That's perfect. Feels like I accomplished something.
And I'm probably reading the same amount as if it was a long chapter, because I'll keep reading, but I just like that.
It's just more. It's more.
You leave me
easy.
hanging at the end of each chapter.
I don't know, like, if this is I'm pretty sure my mom would probably agree. I think I'm ADHD, but I don't know. But like, I'll be reading like 2 or 3 books at a time and not finish one of them, or I'll have to reread the same page like 5 or 6 times.
That happened to me in school so much. Like, you'd have to read a book and write a paper on it, and I would read a chapter, and I'd get to the end of it, and I'm like, wait, what happened?
Yeah,
like
I still do that.
My eyes were looking at the words, but my brain was somewhere else.
It's the same thing with audiobooks. Like, I'll have to rewind it over and over. I'll be like, wait, what are they talking about? I have to go back like 3 chapters.
I think that's part of it too. Like, being on the water is amazing, but like in the mornings, like before a trip, I love, you know, especially in the spring and the summer, you're driving as the sun's coming up and everything's like kind of quiet. There's not as many people on the road yet, and like that whole kind of like process, like ritual of like,
I love
that part is also like kind of a special time to me, like that, the drive to the river, and like
I agree.
There's just something about all of it to me that just feels so at home, you know?
Yeah, and it's like very comfortable and familiar, but at the same time, you don't know exactly how that day is going to be, or you know, if you have new clients, like you're meeting new people and learning how they work and like how to teach them and how they learn, and so you have that familiarity of your routine in the morning, and then also like kind of the unknown of like, oh, how's today going to go?
The balance.
Yeah.
What is going to happen today?
Exactly.
You have anywhere that you want to fish, like bucket list, that you haven't been yet?
Yeah, there's a bunch of places, of course. Like, everyone says New Zealand, and I think that would be really cool. Patagonia was up there for me, so that was awesome, but I'd like to go back and explore a lot more areas. I didn't go into Argentina while I was there, so that would be on the list too.
Yeah.
And of course, like the Amazon, like that's something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
But
How did you connect, like down in Chile and like?
Yeah, I had a buddy that actually I was on like this fishing team in college, and I met him through that.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really talked to him very much since then over the years, and we reconnected. I think I ran into him on the Hiwassee or something, and I was like, "Are you going to Chile again this year?" And he was like, "Oh, maybe." And I was like, "Let's do it. Let's just like give it a shot." And that was like probably 3 or 4 months before it was time to go.
That's
so
awesome.
There was like very unprepared.
Yeah.
But it worked out good.
Those are like the best trips.
It was so cool. But one thing, like out there, we had a vehicle we could use for trips.
Yeah.
But everything else was hitchhiking. So like, if you wanted to go to town, which was like an hour-and-a-half bus ride, if you missed the bus, you would hitchhike. And I met so many cool people doing that. And like from all over, there was this one guy. He was from Germany, but he was driving across South America.
Whoa.
And he had done it several times. He was just living out of the back of his truck. And we got stuck in like some kind of traffic. And what I mean by traffic is like when they paint the roads there's like 2 or 3 guys in the back of a truck with like actual paint rollers, like painting the roads. So like you'll get stuck behind that, and you're like a 2-hour trip turns into a 5-hour trip. But
awesome.
His life story was awesome, and it's like there's this random guy in Chile that's wearing like straight up like, what is it called? Like the leader hose or like the overall outfit.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, all right, I'll take you to town or whatever. And it's like, in what other place would this happen? Like, it's
That's
so
amazing.
weird.
Was the food good down there?
It was so good.
Yeah.
And they had, after like we would host like a group trip or whatever, they would do an asada. So it would be like usually like a younger goat, and they would roast it over a fire. And the gentleman and or the couple that owned it, the lady was an amazing cook, and she would like cook everything from scratch. She would be in the kitchen like super early.
Yeah.
And everything she made was like so good. Have you fished the snake out there?
No, I haven't.
Gotta do that.
I've only fished Montana, Colorado, and Wyoming.
Where did you fish in Colorado?
The worst place you could possibly fish. We went to the South Platte, Deckers. Yeah. Yeah. I had a buddy, he was traveling, he works from home, so they spent like 6 months, they'd go somewhere, rent a spot for a month and just kind of live there for the month just to check it out. Cool. So they were in Denver, and he had like a few hours off, so it was like kind of the closest spot we could just get down to and just try it.
That's cool.
But it was insane because I think that stretch is like maybe 15, 20 miles.
Yeah.
And every place you could stop to fish, there was people everywhere.
It's wild.
And as you've learned from today, I enjoy fishing where there's not people.
Yeah,
so
same.
It's like, oh man.
It gets like to a point where it's like, I kind of want to go home. Even if the fishing's really good, if there's just tons of people, it's, I don't know. Which I feel bad because it's like they're there for the same reason, but still, I'd rather get away from people if I can. Colorado's awesome though. Like there's so much good fishing. That's where we went there a lot growing up, and honestly I think that's where I like got really hooked on fly fishing, because we went out there, I had just turned 12, and my dad's like one of those people that researches everything, and he finds the stuff that no one else finds, like it's just in the middle of nowhere or whatever. And we were hiking or backpacking we were like outside of like Silverton area, like Creed, and we were in the high country, and we were on like a feeder to the Rio Grande, upper Rio Grande, and there's like this huge cliff, and you can see this like epic waterfall, and we're like, oh, that's cool, like looking at that. And then we started looking, and like in the pool you could just see these big black shadows. And my dad's like, we're getting down there.
We are going.
And my brother's like 7 years old, it's like this little kid, like he's carrying him half the way, but we ended up hiking down to it, and it was like the most insane fishing, just like those fish never got fished for. And just like left and right, there's these huge Rio Grande cutthroats.
Huge.
And you couldn't do anything wrong. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but still catching fish. And it was just,
they were ready
after
to eat.
that, I was like, I don't know how, but I want to do this for the rest of my life. It was so cool.
You kind of try this like inside right here on the right.
Alrighty.
With guiding, what would you say for you is like, I don't know, like a challenge or something that you know what I mean? Like kind of either struggle with or something that you got to think about or?
For me, the most consistent thing that's been challenging is, I I stress a lot before trips, even though
Really?
you think doing it like, 11 years into it, it would be like, oh, it's another day. And sometimes I feel that way. But it's not really a stress of like, oh, are these people going to think I'm a bad guide if we don't catch fish? But it's more like, hey, this dad is really excited about taking his 8-year-old fishing, and I want to make sure that they have. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. And like,
I don't think that
them,
trout realizes it's December and this water's 40 degrees.
Definitely doesn't. Like wanting someone to have a good experience. That's why I kind of stress about it sometimes, especially how it is here. You don't know how fishing's going to be, and it can be really inconsistent. So sometimes I struggle with that, but one thing that helps me is like focusing on what I can control. It's like, all right, let's make sure my boat's clean. Let's make sure I have the flies tied, the stuff that I need. And one thing that I learned from someone that was really influential to me in my fly fishing career, Mac Brown, who's taught me so much. That's something that he really helped me work on, was like, hey, you're not going to be able to control the fishing, but you can control the value that people still get out of that trip. And what that means is like,
really good.
What are you going to teach them? Let them really leave with something every single time. Like whether it's, a new cast or like, hey, let me show you how I'm tying this fly in or whatever it is. And I think that's really important, especially with, repeat clients that, you may have fished the Toccoa or whatever river with them 10 or 15 times, but if all you're doing is just rigging them up the same way, showing them the same technique every single time, they may be a little disappointed when fishing's tough. But if I'm like, hey, let me show you how to swing wet flies, let me show you how to do this, and let them leave with some kind of value beyond just catching fish, that kind of helps me ease that anxiety I have of like,
that's great.
Is it going to be a good day or not, or how's the fishing going to be? But that's something I've struggled with.
I think, like when I first started guiding, very similar to what you were saying, like, but on a more shallow level, like it was more of like, is this going to go good? You kind of have, because at least for me with guiding, especially when you first start out, it's like, and still you have good days, you have bad days, and some days either the fish just aren't eating or you don't have them figured out.
Yeah.
And I think I definitely had, almost that like imposter syndrome kind of thing, where it's like,
relate to that.
Do I even deserve to be doing this kind of a thing,
I can relate to that for sure.
But I had to let that go pretty quick, like, when I first started guiding, I wouldn't sleep good the night before, stuff like that. And then I've gotten, let that go for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that I would say I stress about now is making sure I'm taking people to the right place.
Yeah.
If you have a few different options, it's like you want to make the right call. So I think that's where I feel, I guess, the most
responsible.
Like this is solely my decision.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might make the wrong decision. You learn from, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there's been so many times where I've made the wrong call on that, and then it's like, all right, well, one thing that helped me a lot, and I wish I need to keep doing this, but like when I first started guiding, I kept a journal of like time of year, what flies were working, where we went.
I've always said I'm going to do it. I just haven't done it.
That lasted like maybe a year and a half for me. I wish I still did that, but.
Yeah. I think I really like what you said though, like, caring about what the experience is.
Yeah.
There's going to be days where the fishing is what it is.
Exactly.
You can try every fly, every approach, every split shot, you know what I mean? And, you have those days, but it's always amazing to me when you say the fishing wasn't that good one day and the clients leave going like, we had such an amazing day, and that always kind of reaffirms to me, like, there's so much more to this than just catching the fish.
Exactly. And that you did your best. Like, you can only do so much in situations like that
and it always, but like 9 out of 10 times feels like people recognize that.
They do.
It's like,
I really
you're not
think
just out here like
just burning the clock.
Yeah, like we are trying every, you know what I mean?
Have you had, how do you deal sometimes like in situations where people don't necessarily like, this is something I've had to work on, like some people have really high expectations, and I think social media and I don't know, just like TV and everything can build up really high expectations. If you're a new fly fisherman and you think you're going to catch a really big fish or like have a crazy day your first day out, how do you kind of let people be excited about it, but also like realize and kind of explain to them what trout fishing is like and like how long it takes to catch a fish like that on public water, you know, like.
I try to be like really transparent, you know, like I explain to people here, you know, unfortunately most of these fish have to be stocked, you know, there is a little bit of reproduction that happens, but it's very, very little.
Right.
You know, also you got those random people that, you know, say it's their first time fly fishing and their only fishing experience growing up has been, you know, we go fishing to throw them in the frying pan kind of a thing.
Exactly,
And explaining to them how, with this ecosystem and the way they have to stock it and all that stuff, you know, why that I do catch and release. And most of the time, you know, it's like, oh, that makes a whole lot of sense, you know, and I think that part, but for me, the biggest thing is just being straight up with people.
Agreed.
If someone hits me up, you know, during a time of the year where fishing's not that good, I'm going to be straight up with them, even when they call to book the trip.
Exactly.
Like,
Me too. I
would rather you fish with me over the next 10 to 20 years because you trust me and I'm honest with you than, I took your $100 or few $100
one time and then you'll never see it.
Yeah. That to me, and it goes back to like the experience, you know, it's like,
I agree.
Just being upfront and honest to me is huge. And then, you know, the night before as well, like if there's a chance the river's going to be blown, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that the day before. And I just want expectations to be realistic and not, you know. Yeah,
because that makes it for an awkward day for everyone if you like hype something up and it's like not there.
And, you know, and if somebody's goal is like, I want to catch a big brown, I'm like, so does everyone else, first off. I would like to do that. You would like to do that. You know, but just setting expectations. Is this your first time fly fishing? You know, all that stuff. Just having those conversations up front. So I don't want there to be any questions when we step into the boat as far as what expectations are.
Exactly.
Like I want us, when we're stepping the boat, we're all on the same page. We're going to have a great day no matter what happens.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a specific goal, we'll work on that goal the whole trip. But I definitely want to be on the same page, you know, before we're actually on the water, you know.
Agreed.
And honesty, I mean, and that's kind of just a life principle. Being honest is pretty good quality to have. Is. And people can see through it if you're not.
They can, more than you realize. Like, that's,
What about you? Do you have anything that you do, like, as far as setting expectations or?
Really similar to what you said, of just like being straight up with people about the conditions. And this fall, I kind of caught myself doing that a lot, where it's like I was out of work on days I could have been working, but I just didn't feel right about taking someone, you know, the water's warm and all this stuff, and it's like, let's just go this winter or whenever conditions are good, but I will reschedule someone's trip as many times as I need to.
For sure.
And I'll figure things out on my end because I feel responsible. Like, that is something that I feel really responsible for, is like, I'm going to be straight up about how it fished the day before or whatever it is. And if they still want to go, awesome, at least they know. And if not, you know, we'll find a time. But that, and asking people what they want out of it, their expectations, if they want to learn, or if they're just trying to create like a really good memory with their kid, or like whatever it may be. Yeah, so true. I like asking that beforehand, because that seems to go a long way, like you said.
Absolutely. And then this kind of like left side, there's like a shelf in the middle that kind of drops off. I'll hold over there. Yeah, that's good. Last time I floated through here, caught a pretty nice smallmouth right here. Oh, sweet. Like, fishing was pretty slow that day, and that fish definitely was like, sweet, this was worth it.
Do you have many clients who want a smallmouth fish?
Not really, you know.
I wish there was more, because it's kind of an untapped thing.
I would do that all summer long.
Me too.
That would be amazing. You feel like you have to like decompress after like a trip or anything, or? Yeah,
and I think it depends. Like, I love talking to people and connecting with people, but I'm definitely like an introvert a little bit. But
like, talking to people kind of,
it can
tire you a little bit.
Yeah, and it depends on the day. Like, you know, it's like,
for sure.
I don't ever, like, very rarely do I get frustrated, like, on a trip because it's like, hey, this is your first time doing this. If I showed up to your job and tried to do your job, I wouldn't, know everything right away. So it's never really, like, from that, but sometimes just, especially if it's new people, you're establishing a new relationship and getting to know them and wanting them to have a good time. And if you're, if you're on a wade stream where fishing's like, there's tons of trees and your time flies on all day, or re-rigging, tough fishing, like those days I've noticed that it's like a little bit more of like decompressing in the evenings too. But that's also just kind of the way I'm wired. Any kind of social situation, it's like,
same.
It's like I don't smoke, but I need a cigarette. Like,
yeah. Need to step out for a minute.
Yeah. But that's why guiding is kind of good for me too.
I'll take us back up one more time.
Is because I don't do well dealing with a lot of different people in one day. So it's like a couple people is perfect because I love meeting new people and I love getting to know them and everything. But if I had a job to where, and I have before, where you're dealing with multiple people all day long, that's a different kind of exhaustion. That's just, I'm not wired that way.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
It is. I can't, A lot of your experience is how you view it, like what lens you're viewing it through. And I think,
little buddy.
woo! I have had more positive experiences than negative, 1,000%. All of the people that have taught me about guiding, fly fishing, and everything, I've never been fortunate to like, it's all, like, I have no female mentors, but that's fine because like I have so many amazing mentors in my life. I wish I could name drop them all, but they may not want me to. But like,
leave me out.
That have just shown me so much respect and understanding and like treated me equally in every way. And so that has been the biggest positive takeaway for me. There's been a few times, like I remember when I first started guiding, I think I had to have been 17 because like I knew I hadn't been driving that long, so I had to have been like 17. And this guy walked into the shop, and like again I'm picking up like the walk-ins and stuff like that. And he's like, hey, we're here for our trip or whatever. And the guy at the desk, he's like, oh, there's your guide right there. And he's like, excuse me. And he like walked outside, and I was like, that's weird. And there was
told that guy he can take a hike.
There was another trip that had came in, and so it was me and another guy. And he came back in, and he's like, we don't want her. And the guy at the desk was like, okay, like we'll switch your guide or whatever. And
I would have said, your trip is canceled, sir. Have a nice one.
Yeah, it kind of bothered me, but not as much as you would think, because I think I was so young too that it didn't really register like what was going on.
Right.
But like I don't know, we were out there on the same stretch of water, whatever. Like it came back and like it was fine. Like, it was like, all right, cool. Like, if you don't want to fish with me, that's totally fine. I think if I would have took that a different way, I could have got really offended.
Yeah.
But I remember having a conversation with my dad, and he's like, you know, you're in an industry where things like that are going to happen, but you just need to choose how it affects you, because that's the only thing you can control. So I've had
Your dad sounds like a legend.
He's a legend. He's the best. And, like, I know I'm talking about him all the time, but it just, like, it goes hand in hand with so much of this. And that's, like, some really good advice he gave me.
Amazing.
He's like, you're going to deal with this. Do you want it? Because it's going to happen.
That's great.
And I was like, yeah, screw what people like.
You show back up to the shop later, and, like, you took the other clients the dude switch with, and y'all, like, out-caught them by, like, 20 fish, and you're like, what's up, man? How was your trip?
Exactly. So that's only happened a few times, you know, and like sometimes every now and then it'll be like something inappropriate or whatever, but it's like at the end of the day, you know, if you have to work twice as hard to be half as good, do it. Like certain situations you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
But overall it's been so positive.
That's awesome.
And the negative people, that's one of those things that, like, the same thing with, like, you know, when you have, like, every now and then you'll have a rough trip or people aren't nice to you or whatever.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks how they stick out in your mind more than the nice people sometimes.
It's weird how life is like that in general.
So I've tried to shift that and kind of block out all those negative stories of, like, people like that, because it's like, hey, you don't deserve a place in my brain.
You're the one that's actually unhealthy here, so I'm going to let your energy just stay with you.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets so cold.
I know, the wind. It's cold. Should have put my waders on. They were still wet from yesterday, though. The left leg is leaking.
That is the worst. I try to, like, put them inside the night before if it's, like, really cold.
I'm never
then you forget, and then
proactive.
you're like, everything's frozen.
I always just, like, stick them underneath the floorboard and blast the heat on. Are they ever right here or no?
Yeah, it's kind of another one of those spots where when the water's a little higher,
Yeah.
but definitely try it. Like when the water's higher, they'll be more like right here.
Right here,
Like
that
close to
makes
the
sense.
boat. Yeah. Oh!
Oh, hello!
Oh, the water needs to be higher.
Yeah.
Monster. Episode 4, Cassie Spurling.
This has turned out to be an awesome day.